do a little quick demonstration of how a Tesla Model 3 does in the snow. Now the road is really just wet at this point, and it's 33 Fahrenheit, just a little above freezing. So as far as, you know, driving on ice pack or whatever, not a big deal. But the visibility is, you know, let's say less than great, especially when you get near a truck. So let's go ahead and see. Oh, okay, slow down here. Let's go ahead and see what happens when I engage lane assist, right? So lane keeping, lane centering, whatever you want to call it. Most cars, I've rented many dozens of them, including all the way down to like a Toyota Corolla, over the last decade or so, where you're starting to get these lane assist features. Even without lane assist, cruise control is not even recommended for poor, you know, adverse weather conditions. So that's where I'll say Tesla's done a remarkable job. I have 54,000 miles on this car in a little over 3 years, and no, I wouldn't you know, like on snowpack, no, I wouldn't turn any kind of assist anything on. But this is basically rain with some snow. So we'll start with mentioning that if I tap the left stalk here, wipers, let's put them on auto. Let's see how the car does with its most recently retuned algorithm. Well, they've been continually adjusting how they tune the speed of the windshield wipers. I know there's a lot of complaints there, and it's gotten better in heavy or light rain and heavy or light snow. It's gotten better at adjusting the wipers automatically. Let's next put the car in cruise control. So now it's in cruise control. Well, I don't want to be in that, so I'm going to spin it to 55 where I'm at. Fine, no big deal. Now I don't like to pass the truck in the next lane over if I can help it, and I'll also say you're now seeing that the wipers are not doing so great. The auto is failing me. So I'm changing lanes manually, and before I proceed, you can see autos are still in, or wipers are still in auto. What happens if I do, you know, kind of like full self-driving or highway driving, where I've got the solid blue line, not just cruise control going, but there we go, double lines. Now you do single blue line means the car is going to do lane change. I don't want lane changes in these conditions, absolutely not. I want to be in control of what lane I'm in at all times. Now let's see what's happened with the wipers. Okay, they're in auto. Let's forcibly turn them to 1, disengage autopilot by tapping up the stalk. Now I'm driving as a human. It's a truck coming up, and get away from it. Less likely to break my windshield with a rock and have all kinds of salt spray on me. And now he's in front of me anyway. Alright, I'm going to re-engage autopilot now. And let's see what happens. The lights go into automatic high beams. I don't have a choice on that. If I tap the windshield, ooh, it's still in 1. So I thought it was actually going to go to auto for windshield wipers. It did not. Let's change lanes here. I did that manually. It's a slow car there. Re-engage autopilot. These conditions are terrible. Truck coming up behind me. Don't really want him on my tail. I'm going to adjust my speed up a little bit. And my windshield wipers are still failing me, so I'm going to go ahead and crank them to high for the rest of this video. So you're seeing some shortcomings here in Tesla's landing of automatic wipers in snowy conditions. Okay, police car did not invoke the emergency vehicles detected, I'm going to slow down now thing. That's when they're parked on the side of the road. And it's possible that's still happening only at night, I'm not quite sure. So I don't know if you saw that police car at my windshield, but yeah, its lights did not trigger anything. Also, follow distance of 7, another shortcoming of Tesla's advanced driver assistance systems, ADAS systems right now for traffic aware cruise control. Follow distance of 7 is not enough for snowy conditions, so I'm going to compensate by bringing my speed down manually with the right thumb wheel and back off. I don't want to be quite that close to the truck in front of me. Okay, of course now I've got a semi-truck coming up on my tail. Don't really want him getting that close either. You can't see that on camera, but these are all things to think about, that I'm very much involved with supervising my car's driver assistance features in crummy weather like this. But as traffic thins out and I've got, you know, monotonous stretches of highway that are just wet and not snowy, yeah, I mean, it does take some of the burden off keeping my lane centering going. And even in crummy conditions where you can barely see the painted lines, the car does a really good job at staying between the lines. Now, autopilot speed limited due to poor visibility. What does that mean? I think it means I can't go to 80, all right? No, it seems to be getting slow and I'm tapping the accelerator. I'm not sure what that meant. I'm tapping the accelerator gently because there's a semi-truck behind that I mentioned earlier. So now I've got my speed set to 59. Let's see if it'll keep 59, even though the current weather's crummy. The answer is no. Okay, so at this point the car is giving up on being of much value to me. Let's see if I put that in auto, does that make a difference? So now the wipers aren't swinging in front of the camera quite so often. And maybe now, yes, it's letting me keep 59 miles an hour. Okay, I'm gonna bring it up to 63 because the truck looming in my rearview mirror. All right, so you just saw a workaround. Lessen your wiper speed to let the driver assist stuff work a little more effectively, instead of slowing it all down to 50 or whatever it was trying to go to, maybe 45, which was not going to be useful in this situation. All right, and at this point again, the road is above freezing. It's not a big deal. The conditions, I feel pretty safe. So whether or not I decide to keep lane keeping on here, not sure yet. So I just did a lane change where I tapped firmly on the left stalk and it changed lanes once it's deemed it was safe to do so. But I'm in the left lane now, and that's a passing lane only, right? So now I want to get back to the right lane now that we're past the truck. It checked for me if the lane was clear and changed lanes. I didn't have to tug on the steering wheel. So just pointing that out, and now the car behind me is allowed to pass as well, keeping everything safe. So yes, this is how I drive. Always with safety in mind, always with a big follow distance in crummy weather like this when possible. And now that visibility is not great, let's see if we can go to 3. So the conditions are staying the same amount of snow. Will it let me stay at 66, or is it going to say, I'm reducing your speed now due to poor visibility? I'm not sure. And I'm not sure how long that takes either. How long it's looking at the wipers going in front of the cameras to say, oh, come on, this weather's too bad. This person shouldn't be driving this fast. So anyhow, I think in this last, I don't know, 10-minute video or so, you're seeing how the software works, right? In action, in poor weather, some of the limitations of the current state of Tesla software here in March of 2022. Up ahead, I'll be going up 1,000 feet in Sturbridge area of Massachusetts, so the altitude will be higher, the temperature will drop. And at that point, I'll have to decide how do I want to handle that in the safest manner possible as well. But for here, now that traffic's thinned out and we're getting into a more rural section of Connecticut, Vernon, Connecticut, it's just no big deal to trust the car, because my hands are on the wheel. So if it does something a little weird, which it is not inclined to do after 3 years plus, 54,000 miles of driving, it doesn't do surprise jerky turns on the highway, okay? So it really does earn your trust to be a trusted, you know, friend in keeping lane centering and speed in control, including traffic aware cruise control. As you saw, is pretty good, but still follows cars too closely. If I were to turn this on right now, notice what it also says. Poor weather detected, navigate autopilot unavailable. Lane changes in this poor weather anyway. All right, but I tend to not use that feature much. I tend to want to be very much in command of when I initiate a lane change. But it's still pretty cool that the car will look using its 8 cameras around me instead of my 2 eyeballs to look around me to make sure it's safe to do a lane change when I do initiate a lane change. And at this point, there's nobody around, including trucks or nobody merging for the ride. I'm going to go ahead and go to the right lane. The car did the work for me. I still turn my head to the right. I still check my side view mirrors. I'm still the driver responsible. The car is just offering to take some of the drudgery out of long haul driving like I'm doing tonight, which happens to be in some moderate snow, I'd say. That's it. Only an inch or 2 protected. There's probably no big deal. It might be 3 inches in the hills, but I don't think I'll get to the point where they're slushing the highway. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone out. And I do have Cross Climate Plus tires on this car, so I have appropriate wheels that are 3 Mountain Peak snow certified, whatever word you want to use for snow tires. Sorry. Thinking more about losing my lane here. Okay. If you get slush on your left tire in a situation like this in the left lane, I would not recommend AutoPilot, cruise traffic aware cruise control, or any kind of cruise control, or any automation whatsoever. Okay, so as soon as this road gets a little slushy or a little thicker, I'm going to be the driver. And notice I can just tap that right stalk. I get a gentle tone. It doesn't freak anyone else in the car when it's time for me as a human to take over. And you'll notice I'm going left of center of my lane when I go around trucks. That's something the software doesn't generally or consistently do still. It's gotten better though. It certainly doesn't go right of center when you're passing a giant truck. So just pointing that out as well. But you saw there was a big speed difference between me and them. And that was enough for me to say, nope, I'd like to take over. I want to be more comfortable than the software is allowing me to be. So I would not encourage you to turn on and routinely use any driver assist in weather like this. This video is more a demonstration when the road wasn't particularly crowded and it wasn't particularly cold, right? We're above freezing still at 33. A safe demo of basically what it's like to drive in rain, because the road is just merely wet at this point, with some pretty heavy snow obscuring visibility a little bit. Now you'll notice some wiper crud there. You see the snow building up on the wipers, so it's time to do what people have complained about, and that is this. I'm engaging AutoPilot so that I'm about to look away from the road momentarily to turn on climate control menus and then turn on defrost. That is really bad that I had to do 3 taps just to turn on defrost. Absolutely, Tesla needs to move the defrost icon there. One would hope by this next winter I do a similar video to this, and at that point it's a lot easier for me to get the muck off my windshield wiper, as well as back off a bigger distance than 7, as well as handle, you know, windshield wiper speeds better. There's an airstream in the snow. That's a horrible idea. I probably should have gone to the left lane at that point, but I see another car in my left lane, so I made the decision to stay in the middle. But boy, oh boy, trailering an airstream in this weather, is that a good idea? And there you go, big chunk just broke off of my wiper blade. So I just keep this the front of dash air vents going here. I'm going to get away from this truck. And now he's speeding up because he's going down a hill. He's not going to be changing lanes. And there's a little bit of slush in the left edge of my left lane, so climbing altitude as well. I'm going to stay out of there. I'm going to do the safe thing and just hang out in the middle lane from now because there's some traffic merging from the right up ahead. Wipers. If I turn them to fast, so spraying some goo is not helping, but let's turn them to fast. Here, let me turn them off for a second. I want to show you. If I push into the button, there, you can see the blue fluid squirting out there, right? So I'm getting blue fluid all over the wiper, and that worked. So was it the speed change? Was it bringing the wiper to the bottom? I don't know, but now we've got clean wipers. So if you've got the problem I had where the wipers are building up with some pretty heavy icing there, maybe you do what I just did, get them to clear. My wipers are almost completely clean now. The wiper arm does not have ice all over them. Awesome. Now I'm ready to go back to a normal car. Turn off that, back to the 68 that I had set, and let's tap the windshield. Let's get rid of that menu, sorry. Put this back in auto, and I think now the car can actually do some driving for me for a bit in this very light traffic situation. As soon as other cars are around, I'll likely be taking over, or as soon as we get more slush in the road. Alright, it's a little while later, and we're in Union, Connecticut. We're getting to the rural corner of Connecticut here. And the temperature, 32. And 974 feet of elevation. So we're starting to get a little bit of slush on the road, but it's clearly marked. The white paint is clearly visible. The car is dead center in its lane, having no problems. And there's no cars around. So this is, again, just monotonous driving, and really handy to be able to have the car do that. Especially if you're going to look down and adjust temperature, or instead of use voice recognition, or you know, do something with your whatever you're listening to. So just pointing that out, the car is doing absolutely fine, even with some slush in the lines. And that white slush that's there, where no tires have hit it, so it's kind of lighter colored, that's not throwing my car off. I'm still staying dead center between the painted white lines, despite numerous visual cues that are, you know, somewhat misleading here. You can see a whole lot of snow accumulation, well, not a whole lot of snow, completely white in the emergency lane on the right, so that's fine. But what's interesting is that these little patterns here where no tires have hit it to get rid of the mush yet are not throwing me off. And I don't really want to stay near this truck. Here we are with crud built up on the windshield wiper again. Got a good chunk of snow on that left wiper there. And let's see if we can get it to go away. Let this car pass me first. Notice we had a merge lane and my car stayed to the left. That was interesting. Alright, anyhow, let's tap that again. So I'm tapping the sprayer. Let's turn them off for a second. Cannot turn off when autopilot's active, so we're going to disable autopilot, so the blue lines went away. Now when I turn this off, it will actually turn off. The wiper retracted. Actually, I think the snow is already gone, so let's have a look. Nope, it's still there. Alright, what would be my next measure here? No cars around me, good time to try this. Let's do voice recognition. Set defroster on high. Okay, we've got the frost going now. What temperature is it? Yeah, it's hot, so that worked. Another thing I can also try would be put this on high. See if we can get that ice to be dislodged, and then push and hold the sprayer to get some blue defrost fluid shooting on there. And I'm just using up a lot of fluid. I don't care. I need that. Keep those windshield clean and not have that wiper get pounds of stuff on there. Bringing my speed down now because I got another car I'm coming up on, a Prius, who may not have snow tires. I'm more concerned about other people wiping out than myself. Alright. Don't really need the seat heater cranked, so I'll get that off. Still have the front windshield wiper and defroster on high. And spray some more blue fluid. You might be able to see me pushing the button there. I'm not having great luck clearing that off. Can't get the wiper to go off because, again, we've got autopilot. Automatic lane steer on. Start it up again. There we go. Most of it let loose. More blue fluid. Alright. So basically with a bit of fiddling you get ice to come off the wipers. Now new Model Y and I think Model 3 too, they're starting to have a new defrost feature for when your wipers are stowed anyway. It heats up the area of the glass where the wipers are stowed. I haven't really looked into that on newer 2022 and beyond Model 3s and Model Ys, maybe Model S, I don't know, but Model X. But anyhow, the idea would be some sort of enhancement for handling ice buildup when parked. I'm not sure if those are doing anything to address ice buildup on the wiper arm when driving. I do know Tesla's changed the position of the windshield washer fluid sprayers as well from time to time. Big truck came up behind me, that's why I sped up a bit. Now I'm going to bring my speed back down. Okay. That's it. I got clear wipers. Let's go ahead and bring things back to normal. Put this on auto. Front windshield defroster off. Okay, front defroster's off. We're back to normal automatic climate control and automatic wiper speed settings. So, success. That's it. Hopefully a little segment on some tips on dislodging ice from your wiper blades was helpful. We're at 32 Fahrenheit, so we're barely at freezing. And the side view mirrors are staying defrosted. If those got icy here, those are aftermarket wide angle ones, where the electrical connection to the mirror itself is maintained even with a third party, and it should still heat up the glass and remove ice from the side view mirrors if I run into a pickle there in crummy weather as well. And tonight might be my chance driving back, actually. I still got 3 hours of driving ahead of me. Okay, the wipers did a poor job on auto there, so we're going to go back to 3 here and help my wipers be more useful to me in the snowy conditions that I'm in. Engaging full self-driving. And failure. Auto steer temporarily unavailable. Why is that? Well, the weather. Full self-driving unavailable, poor weather detected. Crusted over them, so it thinks it's 45 or defaults to 45 when it can't read a sign for a while, is my theory. See what happens coming up here. Yeah, we just passed the sign that said 65. The other thing is you'll see kind of glitches in the matrix there, where the blue line kind of wiggles when it can't quite read the lines perfectly. So right now you have two stable dash lines, but watch what happens and it wavers a little bit when the paint is poured. You'll see what I mean, hopefully soon. I'm also on the lookout for speed limit signs right now. Not sure what that momentary alert was. It was on the screen for such a short amount of time. Let's see if I can do a lane change here. Okay, that was interesting. Boarded lane change. And did you see that? Autopilot speed limited due to forward visibility, but I believe it also said emergency vehicle briefly there. Alright, let's try again. Lane change. Okay, that one went with authority and had no trouble. Now limited, autopilot speed limited due to poor visibility. That message has gone away. that's good. Alright, since there's no cars spraying water on us, I have a feeling it's soon going to go back to autopilot with a single blue line, with the car deciding on what lane to be in. Let's see if I'm right. We'll leave it on a little. There we go. And my speed of the wipers, by the way, is down here at 2. It does a lot better at those lower speeds as far as kicking off the driving automation in rougher conditions. Notice I'm experimenting a little here when there's nobody around, no other cars around me. Just backed up my speed a little bit. I don't want to follow this car ahead of me too closely. The glitches in the Matrix. Never really got to show you that because now the paint markings on the highway are pretty good. So there's really no problems with lane centering. It's doing a fine job. The acceleration's super smooth too. I don't feel it's putting me at any elevated risk of, losing control or anything crazy. But if you do get into heavy slush, I would always recommend disengaging all automatic everything immediately. Getting a warning about an upcoming lane change. Initiated the lane change. It's saying my speed is limited. I'm asking it to go up from 55 to 60. Let's see if it does. It did. And now the warning about autopilot speed limited due to poor visibility went away. So yeah, conditions are changing rapidly when there's other cars near me or the snow gets heavier and lighter. This is pretty normal, but it seems like maybe the software could be tuned to not change quite as often. And here I have no idea why I would go in the left lane, so I'm going to cancel that. Just stay put in the lane I'm in. Now we're at lower elevation. The speed limit signs are no longer encrusted with snow. Easily visible 65 right there. If you look at the visibility of the lines, you can barely see the white paint. Not really at all on the left. But here in the lane keeping, it's doing a decent job. The line's wiggling a little, but the car is not. It's riding quite smoothly. It's not really having trouble checking the lanes even in these pretty crummy conditions. So now, a few minutes later, it got worse. You can see because the little steering wheel's coming on and off. Meaning you can't even engage autopilot if you want to. And the lines are like fading in and out and jerking around a little bit. And so let you engage it. Yeah, you can see dash lines and solid lines and they're kind of pulsing. Not a shocker given how